Yes, it's time for the Napoleonic quarterly headlines for the third quarter of 1799. Between the 15th and 25th of July, much manoeuvre and fighting occurs at Aboukir, where 18,000 men under Mustafa Pasha had entrenched. Bonaparte consolidated 8,000 troops and attacked the position, losing over 1,000 men, but utterly destroying the Ottomans, with only a fraction escaping to the citadel, which surrendered on 2nd August. However, the adventure now comes to an end as on the 22nd of August, Bonaparte relinquishes command to Kléber. He takes Berthier, Murat, and Lannes, with a bodyguard of 200 men, which include Marmont and Berthier, and leave Egypt for France, knowing he cannot sustain himself in the east and having heard of the political chaos in Paris. Also in August, Toussaint Louverture regains full control of the north and west of Saint-Domingue, as he seeks to reassert his power in the War of the Knives, an insurrection emanating from the south. August is a good month for Toussaint, as he also persuades President John Adams to blockade the ports controlled by André Rigaud, his adversary with the United States Navy. In France, the Croisière du Brie ends with Admiral Brouil's fleet returning to Brest on the 13th of August, having at length linked up with the Spanish fleet, Spain and the Republic being allies since the Treaty of San Ildefonso in 1796, and leading Lord Keith a merry dance around the Mediterranean, but achieving little more than being a large-scale distraction to the Royal Navy. In Paris, Director of France Emmanuel Joseph Sieyès plans to form a new government and throw out the constitution of the year 3. He closes down the Jacobin Club and appoints Joseph Fouché as Minister of Police and Lefebvre as Commander of the Army of the Interior. To the Swiss and Italian fronts now, heavy fighting occurs between Massena and the Archduke Charles around Zurich as the French return to the attack. Thousands are killed between the 5th and the 26th of August without a clear result, apart from the loss to the Austrians of the St. Gothard and Furka passes. The expectation was of more heavy fighting to come. Politically and militarily, the French face disaster in Italy when, on the 15th of August, Joubert is killed at the Battle of Novi, and his army is broken by Suvorov, with terrible casualties prompting a general Russian offensive, which threw the French back against the Apennines. Joubert was a major contender for a leadership position in Sieyès' potential new government, and as such was a major rival to Napoleon. In the Northern Theatre on the 27th of August, the Duke of York's Anglo-Russian expedition landed to the south of the Texel with an initial 12,000 men. In a few days they clash with General Brun's Franco-Batavian forces, but this is early days for the expedition. September brings about a major rethinking in Allied strategy. Now worried about French pressure against the Rhine and wishing to aid the Duke of York, Archduke Charles is ordered to take a contingent through Germany to the Netherlands to unite with the Anglo-Russians. The void will be filled by Suvorov, who is ordered by the Tsar to march on Zurich and finish with Massena. This game of follow the leader leaves General Korsakov in command of a much-reduced force in Switzerland and offers a brief window of opportunity for the French, while Suvorov's absence will leave General Melas in command in Italy. French politics continued to swirl in chaotic spirals as the Directory breathed its last. General Jourdan attempted to declare a state of emergency in order to be given extraordinary powers, but his motion was defeated. Alarmed, however, at the response of the Jacobins, Sieyès removed the die-hard Republican General Bernadotte as Minister of War and began contemplating which of the generals he could use to complete his inner circle of statesmen and administrators, such as Fouché, Ducos, Talleyrand, and Barrès. Returning to the Northern Theatre now on the 16th of September 1799, General Brun defeated York's Anglo-Russians at Bergen-op-Zoom, highlighting divisions in the Anglo-Russian alliance and the poor organization of the Allied force. In the Swiss theatre, the decisive moment had arrived, and everything from the French securing vital Alpine passes to the insane changes of command came together to deliver one of the greatest Allied defeats of the war. Between the 25th and the 26th of September, Massena threw his now superior numbers and talent against Korsakov, who was beaten back across the river Limmat and then forced to retreat from Zurich with a loss of 8,000 men and 100 guns. Austrian forces under Hotz were defeated the same day by Soult on the Linth River. On the second day of the fighting, Suvorov reached the St. Gotthard Pass, but managed to batter his way through, suffering appalling casualties, only to discover that Korsakov was in retreat. This would compel Suvorov to make his legendary march across the Alps to reach safety. But the disaster also meant that Archduke Charles had to turn back from his march on the Netherlands, and in the course of 2 days the entire Allied strategic vision had crumbled across Central and Northern Europe. As to Bonaparte, well, we'll just have to wait and see. Back to you, Alex.